Greetings and salutations. We are back with some hardcore one talent challenge. Now, I did do this one on my channelversary, as it says. Now, the whole premise of this whole channelversary thing was the 1 year I did a stream on the 1 year of my channelversary, and I did not pick a single skill. That is granted to me right now by an ability, by an item. I have not picked any skill, and the idea for this necromancer was not for me to pick the skill, but for you to pick the skill. This is going to be a relatively shorter video. If you watch this video, I want the comments for, say, the first 48 hours to pick the skill that I can use. Now, how it works, I've explained it before, I'll explain it again. I can only pick skills that I can get accessible from the base start of the game, meaning raised skeleton, clay golem, because you can get that at 6, teeth, bone armor, poison dagger, amplify damage, or dim vision. Those are my choices. I can use abilities that are granted by items, because that's not an actual skill that I put points into. I'm allowed to put 20 points into the skill that you choose, because for the most time it was me choosing a skill. But now I'm doing it the other way around. I chose the class, Necro. You get to choose the skill. Creates this little interaction. And then, if it goes well, or even if it doesn't, I'll choose another class. And you get to choose the skill again. And I will take the first, say, better than saying the first 24 hours or 48 hours of comments. The first 10 comments, whatever the most popular choice is, in the first 10 comments, that's the skill choice. And that's going to be through all of normal. And then in Nightmare, I get another point. Now, if you guys say dim vision, right? So dim vision means that in the next Nightmare level, you get to choose another one. And I could get my hands on Confuse. So be very aware that you might think, well, we're going to stick him with dim vision. He won't do anything. Haha. Then I have access to Confuse next in Nightmare. Of course, you could say dim vision and then you could say bone armor. But you see the fun here. I wanted to make it even more challenging. But we're going to do this for a little bit. It's not going to be very long. I'm going to try to keep it under 30 minutes. Because there's a clay golem from the weapon, from the item. The reason why I try to keep it under 30 minutes is normally I get caught up into getting very pensive in my own thoughts while doing this. And then I'll ramble for a very long time. But I didn't want to do that. I just wanted to sit there and kind of have a discussion about what was your fond memory of a game? What game did you play growing up that it was the fond memory for you? Because this was the fond memory for me. 100%, this game was the fond memory for me. I could tell you all about it. And when I was growing up, when we first got the game, and when we first got the game, it looked like this. Which that looks funky now, but I had played the original. I played the original Diablo, and I thought, man, this game's kind of cool. You know, it felt good to play. It was a little slow paced, but that was okay. It was a dungeon crawler. It was meant to be slow paced. You were meant to kind of slowly plod through the dungeons and kill monsters and loot treasures, and it had that mystique about it. Now, mind you, I had never played Dungeons and Dragons, and due to my abysmal dice rolling, I never will. And no, this is not another Uma Musume thing where I say I never will, but then I do. I didn't say I would never play Uma Musume, so I guess I'm not wrong on that one. I did say I did not want to play it. But at the same time, I'm glad I did. But anyway, back to Diablo. I know that it was based off of other things like Dungeons and Dragons. It was based off of the older style of games, and it was supposed to be a Dungeons and Dragons sort of, you know, user dungeon. You were supposed to be able to walk through it, and you know, you were supposed to have to do dice rolls in combat. But then they said that would make the game too slow paced. And so what they did is they removed the whole dice rolls in combat, and they just said, you know what? What if we just have it so that it's a hack and slash? The hack and slash genre pretty much got born right then and there. Now, I was very fond of Diablo. I was not fond of the plot twist at the end, which, I mean, I would say spoiler alert, but given how long Diablo's been out, everybody knows. Your character basically becomes Diablo by looking at the Soul Stone and jamming it in his own forehead. Whether it be because he heard the whispers of the Soul Stone, or whether it be because he thought, literally infinite power, let's do it. I don't know. Hard telling what was going through your guy's dome, aside from a portion of the Soul Stone. But it set the stage for this, Diablo 2. Now, when Diablo 2 first was announced, we thought, okay, kind of cool, neat, and it showed that you could run, and there was classes this time instead of just, 3 archetypes, and then you got to build the spells and the abilities on your character. It went in a completely different, yet better direction. Which, to most people, was perfectly fine. Like, they sat there and they were like, you know what? Whatever. And a lot of people loved it. Matter of fact, it was so well beloved, I will never forget it. We ordered the game. You had to call in and order in those days. We dialed the number on the back, long distance, so it cost us money, and we ordered the game. And the order volume was so high at Blizzard back in the day that when I received my game, I went to get online. When I went to get online, the servers were laggy, and everybody's like, wow, these servers are terrible. We thought it was just Blizzard being, well, they didn't know what they were doing, because the Warcraft 2 Battle.net servers never had a problem. No other multiplayer servers really had a problem back then. Blizzard was just being awful. Well, what we didn't know is it was being pinged to death by all the people wanting to play. And I was in general chat. And I'll never forget it. The guy's like, well, whatever you do, if you get in a game, don't leave the game. Otherwise, you're going to lose all your progress. Because there was a bug that it wasn't logging the progress when you saved. And when the people saved, it basically reset their character to the start level, and the progress was pretty much gone. But these people were just trying to play it so much. Anyway. Some guy says, he's sitting there, he goes, on the back of my box it says that it has online play. He's like, and I get online and I can't play. And I was just like, I put in the chat, I was just like, wait a minute, you got a box? And they were like, well, yeah, you get a box of the game. I said, I didn't. I said, mine was mailed to me in a manila envelope. And that's how it arrived. It arrived, manual, jewel case, manila envelope. That was it. Or not jewel, yeah, jewel case. There was no box. I didn't have an outside box whatsoever. And I'm like, what did you just did you overproduce the game and underproduce the boxes? Like, what happened? Did the printer run out of ink? Never received a box for the first game. for the first Diablo 2. It also took forever, too. As it went, anecdotal story time. Another anecdotal story. When I ordered it, it was shipped from California, and it was supposed to ship to the East Coast. And it got to the Midwest. Got to the Midwest, and it was at a location in the Midwest. And I'm like, okay, it's in the Midwest. It says will arrive tomorrow. Awesome, no problem. No worries. It didn't arrive. So I checked the postal tracking. It arrived at the destination at the distributing hub close by, and then it went back out to the Midwest. Same day. And I'm like, you're joking. You left it on the truck? And then the next day, it did the same thing. It said it arrived at the hub, the local hub, and then went back out to the Midwest again. By the third day of this happening in a row, I began to question if I was ever going to see my game. Apparently, they had lost it on the truck. And I don't understand how you could lose it on the truck when it was a manila envelope with, a manual the size of a book and like a jewel case. Like, it's not like it was completely flat and slipped between two slots, or if it was completely flat and slipped, between the chair and between the seat cushions. No. Not like that at all. There's no way this would have fit. And so I'm sitting there going, how on earth did you people lose it? And they never did explain it, because they're supposedly, you're supposed to empty the entire, truck when you arrive. It's supposed to get completely empty because it was everything that was going to that distributing hub. I guess they didn't. But nevertheless, I still got my game eventually, and thus started my enjoyment of the franchise. Well, further enjoyment of the franchise. That kind of dovetails into this. Everybody likes to laud this game as one of the best games made. And they are looking at it through rose-colored glasses, to a degree. And for people to say, well, what do you mean rose-colored glasses? Let me elaborate just a little further. People look at this game 20 years later, after Lord of Destruction came out, and after the synergistic spells and abilities came out, right? That's what they're looking at it with. That's the rose-colored glasses. And I issued a challenge, and it was on the forums, and nobody took me up on it. This was shortly after the Diablo 3 launch. Everybody sat there and said Diablo 3 was garbage, and that we had been had. And looking back on it, yes, I agree. But at the time when I started playing it, I'm like, this game isn't that bad. Like, I played Diablo 3 and I thought it was pretty decent. And that was in the beginning. And then, toward the end, I realized, yeah, the game became rubbish. But that's neither here nor there. I issued a challenge on the forums, and nobody ever took me up on it, and I wish they had. I told them that people should have tried, because they were talking about how Diablo 2 was a massive epic success, and Diablo 3 was a flop. And I said, well, then you clearly don't remember the launch day of Diablo 2. You don't remember the early game of Diablo 2. And people were like, of course I remember it. I played this class, that class, blah, 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 blah. I said, okay. Let's let's delve further into this. You may have played the classes, but you don't clearly remember. One of the things I said was I said the skills back then had no synergies. None. Like, nowadays, if you take a look at your skills, as soon as I'm out of combat here, or at least to the point where I can manage it, if you look at your skills, oh, hey, Gem Shrine. Nice. Nice. And you take a look at, say, Teeth, right? Teeth receives bonuses from Bone Wall, Bone Spirit, Bone Prison, Bone Spirit. Synergistic effects, so just by putting points into the other talents, you get a bonus here. Primo, love it. That's nice synergy. Same way with Bone Armor, Poison Dagger, Corpse Explosion. Well, Corpse Explosion doesn't give you diddly. Golems, etc. Way back at Diablo 1.00, Diablo 2 1.00, there was none of that. Absolutely zero. So I, being the shrewd individual I was, told them, do a fresh install of Diablo. Do a fresh install of Diablo 2. Do not put on any expansion. Do not put the expansion on, and do not patch the game. Diablo 2 version 1.00. And play it. And tell me how epic it was. And nobody would do it because to them, they kept looking at what the game had become instead of what the game was. Which is what I used as my defense for Diablo 3. In retrospect, we were both right. Diablo 2 was not a massive epic success because of how good it was. It was actually quite a big turd when it first came out. It's just people remember it fondly because they remember it after LOD, and they remember it after all the patches and all the balance changes. That's what they remember. They don't remember it as it used to be. And by remembering it as it used to be, with no synergies, your skills were just kind of there, it really makes you think, was the game really that good? Like, if you were to come back to it with fresh eyes today and look at Diablo 2, before any patches or anything, which if you have a physical copy, which I do, there, if you have a physical copy and you have a CD drive, which I don't have a CD drive, but I can download the online file straight from Blizzard. You can actually get the digital download. And that comes in as Diablo version like 1.8, I think. So it's already altered. But I was saying, if you got the original copy of Diablo, physical, and you played it with fresh eyes, and realized that there's no synergistic effects whatsoever, would you still say it's good by today's standards? I'm willing to bet everybody would not. Willing to wager, as a gentleman's wager, that everybody would say, this game's not that good. I mean, is it better now? Yes, absolutely 100%. It's better now. There's a reason why they added those things, is because they kind of realized, wait, it's terrible. And then to balance it out, they had to nerf the number of skeletons. Because necromancers had we used to call them crashromancers. Because they would summon so many skeletons. They would have like 20 to 25 skeletons. And then we're talking mages as well. So we're talking the skeletons and then the mages. And then they'd have their golem. And then they'd have their revives. They come rolling in with 60 plus minions. And computers that could barely handle, 15 minions. are sitting there dying. Like their computers are just bursting into flames. So it was causing a lot of performance issues. And when it created those performance issues, it caused a lot of people to crash out of the game. And when they did, they'd be gone for the game and they'd come back in and they'd try to play it again. And it's like it made the game very unfun for a lot of people because they couldn't fully enjoy their product because one class was ruining the game. So what they did is Blizzard said, okay, as you're leveling up the points of skeleton, your skeletons get stronger, but you get fewer of them. It's a roundabout way to balance it, which is fine. Like, I don't have a problem with it because the number of skeletons you get now, I think maximum is like 12. And that's if you have like +2 to skills, so that's like Tarn Helm and maybe a wand. You'll get maybe 12 skeletons. And then you get like 7 or 8 mages. So you get 20 people all together. And then revives, you get as many as you can make. But it was a very interesting time. Way back when. Oh, wait, that's the pathway down. But I didn't get any experience on this level, which kind of sucks. I want experience. Oh, good. Oh, and by the way, I'm going to say this right now. This is a little bit off topic, but yet still a little bit on topic. It was something that it was something I think my mercenary did that reminded me. It was either my mercenary. No, it was the ghost. That was the ghost. The ghost. It's not that something they did. The ghosts reminded me of the second season of PSG. And if you don't know what PSG is, it's panty, stocking, and garter belt. It's an anime. And if you have not seen the first season of it, watch it. It's completely unhinged. And it is quite literally hilarious. And the second season is even better so far. The second season, it just makes fun of a lot of things all at the same time. And I love it for that. It's legitimately, it's obviously the animation style is not going to be for everybody, but it's an anime that's not taking itself seriously. And that's the best part. When you have something like that that says, you know what, we're here, we're just going to kick back, relax, and have a good time. And if you don't jive with the anime, well, that sounds like a personal problem. I love anime like that because of what it does. Like, it doesn't try to be like this super serious, oh, we have to do this. And it doesn't have any sort of like other hook to it like that. It's just solid. It's got enough comedy to keep you coming back for more. I mean, I found myself chuckling at it. And it's good. It's good. The second episode, the second part of the second episode, fantastic. I will say that PSG is not for the faint of heart, and it is certainly not for. Uh, it is certainly not a children's cartoon, by any means necessary. It is a very adult conversation, but it's funny. It's funny. If you find dirty humor funny, it's right up your alley. Getting to be about the time, though, because I'll probably just finish off the tower here and then, well, maybe I will. I probably should. I'll probably just finish off the tower and then call it. Because I just wanted to do a quick little video for this one, because I did 2 other videos that were rather quite lengthy. And, this one, and I don't know. I felt like playing the necromancer again, and I'm hoping people comment and tell me what talent to pick. That way it's a little bit interactive, and it's not me going through trying to do with one talent and play very conservatively and not try to get murdered around every corner, which happens a lot. And if you haven't checked out the rest of the series of the One Talent Challenge, definitely check it out. My first druid actually made it all the way to hell difficulty, albeit a lot of that work was thorns from the edge bow pattern or edge bow rune word. It was still difficult, very difficult. And then I ended up dying because I made a mistake from positioning. I positioned improperly, and when I did, the ball of lightning came over and just domed me right in the face. And I'm like, oof. Feels bad, man. But the fun part is like I didn't even miss a beat. I died, and I was like, well, time to start over. I went and I made a different class, and I started playing it, and just kept going. And then I think that one died too. Forgot what it was. Sorceress so far has been my bane. It's been so hard to do a sorceress. I've lost 2 of them. The assassin's doing well. The paladin's done well. He's in nightmare. I played a druid. I played a barbarian. He died in Act 2, and I should probably try a barbarian again. The problem with playing a character like a paladin or a barbarian is you do have to rely on your melee attack, and sometimes your melee attack is just not reliable. And so you've got a whole heap of trouble. To quote Jim Raynor, ow. Why on earth do they do that with the cold enchanted? I swear they make like every single mob cold enchanted too. Granted, that's the first one I've had, but it's almost like they know cold enchanted. The explosion afterward is going to absolutely eviscerate your character, so they're anticipating you making that mistake. You gonna shoot him, Ellie, or you just gonna stand there? Right. Ow. That was the fire. Hey, she's doing it. Really? A Tal rune and a Tal rune. I love how they give you runes for like level 27, level 17. My character's only level 11. Thanks, Blizz. I was not about to walk in there and face the Countess head on and die. Nope. It's bad enough I gotta go do that with Andariel. But it's exactly 30 minutes. Look at that. 30 minutes, 22 seconds. At least when I looked. But yeah, it's a lot of fun doing this. It really is. There's a lot of fun to be had throughout all of life if you know where you're looking, if you know what you're doing. Um, good weekend. Apparently, not everybody's working for the weekend. Ooh, I don't have enough for it. 2 to clay golem, 3 to bone armor. That would be nuts. 2 to clay golem, 1 to raise skeleton. I'm gonna grab one of those because I'm gonna make it into a necromancer wand. I'm gonna get it enchanted or imbued. I'm thinking about that one right there. Matter of fact, sorry, clay golem. Welcome back, clay golem. Aha! Don't know why, but that sounded like Archmage Antonitis. Whenever you cast a spell with Antonitis on the board in Hearthstone, you cast any spell, and then he goes, aha! And he gives you a fireball, free fireball. You can't do the whole, Exodia Mage, which is just you get your fireball to 0, then you're just like fireball, 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 fireball. It doesn't work that way. But I want to thank everybody so much for watching this. I hope you had fun. I did as well. I did. And I hope I get comments. Like I said, first 10 to 20 comments I get, roughly, in here, I'm going to take the highest number and whatever skill they say in the original skills that I have, meaning amplify damage, dim vision, bone armor, teeth, poison dagger, summon skeleton, or clay golem. Whatever they say is the highest frequency of the first few comments. That's the talent I pick. That's the talent I have to go all the way through normal with and try to beat the game. But here from me to you, I hope everybody has a fantastic evening, a wonderful tomorrow, and as always, have a good one. Let me hear the talent I should pick. White.